because there's so many people that have like a highly professional background and they've done real estate or they've done mortgage lending or something like that. And I think there's a lot of women that are like, real estate investing is for them, not for me.
Yeah. I hope that I can be an encouragement to somebody that this is duplicatable. Like if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah.
If I can figure it out, anybody can figure it out.
Without Fear of Her Future podcast is for women who are passionately pursuing financial freedom using multiple streams of income and real estate to accomplish their goals. We are here to empower you to be brave, dream big, and design a life that you love that inspires others to do the same. I'm your host, Andrea Engstrom, a real estate investor and business coach and co-founder of the Partnership for Realtors and a coach in the Women's Real Estate Investors Network with Tresa, Todd, author of the best-selling book, Without Fear of Her Future. Over the past 2 years, Tresa has had nearly 200,000 join her Masterclass, where she teaches women how to become successful real estate investors. We're giving Tresa the day off today, but I have an amazing guest to introduce you to. Wendy Parenteau was a homeschool mom for 24 years and became an investor last year. Today, she has her 6th flip in process and just completed her real estate license. Wendy reinvented herself with real estate. So today we're going to talk about how she did it. Wendy, welcome to the podcast. Hi, how are you?
Thank you for having me. It's great
Absolutely.
to be here.
Thank you. Tell us where you're from, where do you live, and where do you primarily invest?
Okay, well, I grew up in the state of Rhode Island, and then we moved to northern Maine, and I primarily invest in the Aroostook County in Maine.
All right. So is that a big town, a small town? Where are you at?
Well, I get the population numbers for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so the population of our town is 250, and the county population is 66,266 and 6,828 square miles.
Wow. Okay. So you're in a small town of 250 people. I love this because there's so many women that say, there's no opportunity where I live. It can't be done, but you're proving all of the theories wrong. So I love this. Well, tell us, Wendy, what did your life look like? What did your career look like before you started in real estate?
Okay. Well, I worked in the medical field for 10 years as a certified and licensed occupational therapy assistant. So I worked in hospitals, in inpatient and outpatient care. I worked in burn care. I worked on the traumatic brain injury unit, the rehabilitation unit. And then I also worked in long-term care facilities for private practice and in pediatrics in a school system. So, yeah.
Wow.
And so I worked as a therapist for 10 years, and then I became a stay-at-home mom. And I worked actually as a foster mom for 10 years during that time as well.
Oh, wow. And how many kids do you have?
We have 4 children. They're all adults now, 1 at home, and the rest are married, and I have 2 grandchildren.
Amazing. So what led to your decision to get into real estate investing?
Well, as my youngest was getting ready to graduate homeschool high school this past April or so, before that, I was thinking already about what am I going to do when I'm not a homeschooling mom before? It's like a whole identity change.
Yeah.
And so first I was medical field, then mom, homeschool mom, and then now looking for the next thing. And so I started thinking about real estate investing because when my husband and I were in our 20s, we really thought it'd be really fun to do that, to like flip houses and just to help people. So I guess now in my 50s, it's resurfacing as just one of those things that I thought would be really fun to do. But also for a practical purpose, I really wanted to help create some income to help my husband. He supported us all these years, and I want to be able to get him retired.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, how did you get started? You thought about it for a long time, but then you one day made a decision. So how exactly did you get started?
Well, I ended up seeing one of Tresa's ads and for her masterclass. So I said, this sounds great. I just immediately connected with her on a spiritual level, and I really appreciated what she was offering. So I joined the June 2021 Masterclass, and then I signed up for her mentorship program in July of 2021.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And so tell us what you've done in real estate over the past year. What kind of deals are you doing?
Okay, so primarily when I got into this, I had $0. And so I thought I was going to start with wholesaling, but
Uh-huh.
God had another plan. And so I started putting out, I didn't have money, very much money. So I did, my marketing was with bandit signs. So I put those out around my town and my county. And I started getting phone calls and phone call after phone call after phone call. And so then when I started following these leads and going out and walking the properties, I ended up getting 6 properties under contract. And so
Wow.
past year, we've been just working at learning how to work through the construction process and work through the financial aspects of getting these deals under contract, but then also all the monthly, costs that are involved with having that many homes to manage.
Yeah. Okay. I love this. So you went out and put out bandit signs like in
Yeah.
your community. How many times did you have to do that before you had 6 properties?
Uh, I did it once and I put out 25 songs.
Stop it. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. That's
So,
incredible. That's incredible.
yeah.
There's so
But
many.
that has to be the God thing because I only put out that many signs and I got over I think 60 phone calls off of those
Wow.
25 signs. So that was amazing. And so, I think that for those deals, um, out of those deals, the first one, I guess, is the one that I probably can share the numbers with.
Yeah.
It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home. The purchase price was 37,000 and the ARV was 75,000. The rental estimate was 1,500. The closing costs were 2,042.45. The carrying cost was 1,451.80. The materials were 4,429.15. I had 2 contractors on that job. So the first one for his labor cost was 16,645.32, and the second contractor was 1,880. Electrician was 1,702.23, and subcontractor labor was 3,164.49. So when I got involved with that, Andrea, it was my first deal, so super excited.
Yeah.
I completely underestimated how much it was going to cost me in renovation. And so, but I ended up listing the home for 115, which is a modest price in the area in this county.
Yeah.
And it sold for 100,000 plus the closing costs. So the realty fees were 6,000 and the profit was 22,404.80. So I really wanted to get to that mark of 25 or above, but with all
Yeah.
the extra, costs that were involved in rehabilitating that property, it was okay because I felt really good about the fact that we were able to rehab that house and that a family was able to move into it and start their new life. And that's what's needed in our county. We have a lot of older homes that
Yeah.
really just need a breath of life in them. So,
Wow. Okay. There are so many women that are going to listen to this and run out and get bandit signs because just the fact that you put out signs one time and from
yeah.
that was able to pick up a property for such a great price, and even
Mhm.
though the renovation costs were higher than you estimated because you were brand new and trying to figure this thing out, you learned so much from it, but they were still very low. I thought you were going to tell me on a project that's 37,000 purchase price that it needed $100,000 in repairs, but you still
Yeah.
had a pretty low budget for that, and were able to walk away with over $20,000 in profit after all of your expenses and everything. So
Yes, that's right.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. So what are your other, are you flipping everything? Are you doing any other kind of strategies? What are you doing?
Well, I was originally going to keep a couple of the homes like
Uh-huh.
for buy and holds because we have a great need for traveling doctors and nurses in this area
Yeah.
from out of state. And so, but right now, what we are trying to do is flip them all so that
Uh-huh.
we can build up our our budget so that we can reinvest more specifically in short-term rentals. But if the market does continue to shift in the way that it's shifting, I may have to really consider shifting my strategies, my exit
Yes.
strategies. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really smart. I think a lot of people are shifting strategy as the market
Mhm.
changes, but that's the beautiful thing.
Yeah.
When you get a deal, you have the flexibility to be able to make a decision differently. And if the market changes in the middle of the project, you shift your strategy,
Yes,
and
that's right.
things are going to be okay. So, okay, so how do you finance your real estate projects? Because you said something really interesting that I think a lot of people are going to want us to circle back on. You said I started with $0,
Right.
and now you're flipping houses to build up your cash. But how are you financing those deals?
Okay. So primarily, I just go to the Ren sisters in the group here. There's a lot of people who are private money lenders,
Uh
and
huh.
they've been really wonderful to work with. We've developed some really good relationships, and we've learned a lot from each other. And then secondary, I would use a hard money lender.
Uh
And
huh.
so there's several out there that I've been working with. So yeah, it just works. And I did take a HELOC, home equity loan out on our
Uh huh.
home. And so that was able to kind of fill in the gaps or use it for
Hmm.
down payments for equity.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. So, so you mentioned the REIN sisters. So that's the Women's Real Estate Investors Network.
Yeah.
You're part of our network, and that's how you and I got connected.
That's right.
But okay, so transitioning from being a full-time homeschooling mom for 24 years to
Hmm.
real estate is a big change.
Yes.
I want to hear, how did your years in homeschooling help prepare you for your life today in real estate?
Okay. And I think in a lot of ways, that's an interesting question.
Uh-huh.
I hadn't really thought about it before, but I think that a lot of time was put into structure and
Mm-hmm.
time management, um, dedication,
Yeah.
perseverance, developing a positive mindset,
Yeah.
and endurance, negotiating skills for sure with four little ones, and
Yeah.
advocacy, and determination, and peacekeeping. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. And you're obviously, I loved how you told me not just the dollars but the cents on every line item in your renovations budget. So you're obviously a very detailed person, and I'm sure that
Yeah.
served you well as a homeschool mom and in real estate today. Like knowing your
Yeah.
numbers is so important.
It is.
Um, so you mentioned mindset also. But what do you think holds women back from reinventing themselves and doing something like this?
Yes. I think that a lot of times, speaking for myself, but also for other women that I have visited with over the years, it's just limiting beliefs. You know, we have a lot of limiting beliefs as women. Sometimes we can develop negative mindsets, um, trauma. A lot of us have gone through some sort of trauma in our life. And so
Yeah.
then we can develop resentment, which kind of holds us back. It's like a weight.
Yeah.
Um, Comparing ourselves to others. We do it
Hmm.
all the time as women.
Yeah.
Um, I think trust issues,
Yeah.
negative and self defeating thoughts, fear of change, fear
Yeah.
of failure, fear of success, you name it,
Yes.
right?
All of that.
And then
Yes.
the poverty versus abundance mindset. You know, I
Yeah.
think those are the types of things that I was dealing with. So I'm wondering too if there's other women out there that are also dealing with similar challenges.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about that more for just a moment, that idea of poverty versus abundance mindset.
Mhm.
Tell us about how do you, if you feel like you've been through trauma or you've been through some really hard things,
Yes.
and you've developed this mindset of like, this is how things have always been for me,
Right.
and it can manifest in that poverty mindset. How do you shift that? How do you bring yourself out of that?
Yeah. For me personally, my faith. I had a lot of faith in God. And I know that He was with me every step of the way. Through the trauma, He was there. Through the healing, He was there. Through this new season that He's leading me through, which I have no idea what in the world He's up to, He's there. You know, He's there. He's
Yeah.
always there.
Yes. That's beautiful. Well, talk to me about what has been the most challenging part, because we've all been through hard things, but
Yeah.
then getting into real estate investing, we face new challenges. So
Yes.
tell me about what would you say has been the most challenging part about getting into real estate investing for you?
Okay. For me personally, it was
Yeah.
my confidence. I had been in the home for so many years. And, so I know how to make a mean peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but what did I know beyond that, right? But I think that a lot of it was my confidence, the lack of it. And at Tresa, through her program, she really just has a way of gently reaching into your heart and just encouraging you as a woman. And I
Yeah.
started feeling more confident, and I started learning more, and I started applying what she told me. She gave me the courage that I didn't have.
Yeah.
And so I think that was just probably the best gift that she had given me. And then
Yeah.
just being able to work through that and apply it to each aspect of the real estate investing business. And as I went along and I had success, I'm like, oh, wow, I can do that. I can
Yeah.
do that. Let's do it again.
I love it. I love it so much. Your name came up as we started this podcast, and we were looking for like who's our stories. And there's some people in the network that are really um, loud and they share everything that's going on with them, and they're I would call them influencers. And your name kept coming up, and we would follow it with by. She's a dark horse. Watch her go. Like she's like it's so exciting because we're like, she's just she kind of has this quiet and we described it as a quiet confidence. And so I love that you shared that that's something that you have been developing in yourself as an investor because we were like,
Yes.
oh, watch her go because sometimes there's gals in the network that where we're like, oh, she's doing this, she's doing that. And then there's
Mhm.
occasionally women like you where we go, holy cow, what has she done? And we didn't even see it coming. And it was just so exceptional. And so I just want
Thank
you to
you.
know we're all rooting for you and we're so excited for your success that you're having and you're inspiring so many women to
Thank you.
be brave and to have courage and even make a complete life change like this.
Mhm.
And I do want to say someday I want to try one of your peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because I bet you do make a mean PBJ. Well,
Absolutely.
you mentioned that Teresa helped you have that confidence, but what do you think was the most helpful thing to you in joining the Women's Real Estate Investors Network?
hmm I think that a lot of the solid teaching that
Yeah,
we got from the Todd family and from our mentors, it was just at first extremely overwhelming because it
right.
was just all so new,
Yeah.
but it was broken down so carefully and it was taught so well that I think that it just really, again, started building my confidence. It began building my knowledge. And that specialized knowledge has served me so many times when I'm out in the field assessing properties or talking to other real estate investors that haven't had the same training that I have, or even now as a realtor. Talking to other realtors, they
Yes.
just don't know. So
Yes.
so I really feel like that has been key, just to have the proper training.
Yes. And you brought up that you're a realtor and talking to other realtors. So you just completed your real estate license recently.
Yes. Thank
Congratulations.
you.
That's
Thank
so
you.
exciting. So what led you to decide that you should go ahead and get your license also?
Okay, well, that's kind of twofold.
Okay.
One is because I thought it'd be really good as an investor to understand the whole process from the beginning to the end,
Hmm.
and to feel confident about running my comps and understanding the buying and selling of real estate in
Yeah.
general. The other thing was Tresa.
Yeah.
When she announced right before Run Live that, this is something that she was doing, I'm just like, oh, think I can do this too. If she's going to do it, I think I can do it. And
Yeah.
I just really, really enjoyed the time that at Run Live the night before when we were all together.
Yeah.
For the EXP Realty sharing time, and it was good. It was so informative and encouraging just to be in the other room with so many other women who had similar goals to me, who've
Yeah.
had similar challenges in life, and just they're thriving now. It's
Yes.
really beautiful to see.
Yes, absolutely. So you joined us in the partnership brokered by EXP, and I love your enthusiasm for introducing this opportunity to others. So share with everyone, what is it about the business model that was most appealing to you that led you to decide to go ahead and join?
Okay. One is I really like the community that they
Yeah.
have. I mean, it's similar to like what we have with Ren Live, I mean, with
Uh-huh.
Ren,
Uh-huh.
but it's also, it's just encouraging to know that there's so many opportunities for continuing education
Mm-hmm.
in classes and support. And I have my own mentor for my first 3 deals, which is wonderful.
Awesome.
But also just having an opportunity as a woman to create residual income is really
Yeah.
important to me.
Yes. I love it. I'm hearing a common theme with you, and it doesn't surprise me a bit that education and
Mhm.
training is a high value for you,
It is.
whether
It is.
it's joining the REIN, the Women's Real Estate Investors Network mentorship,
Mhm.
or joining when you were picking which brokerage you were going to join, you joined one that had the coaching and training and those opportunities to continue your education. And as an educator for
That's
24
right.
years, that totally makes sense that that would be something really important to you. Well, you've done
Absolutely.
awesome things, Wendy. Tell us, what are
Yeah.
your goals for the future?
Okay. So I would like to become more strategic in my investing and to
Uh-huh.
be able to look at some other areas in Maine, on the coast, in the lakes, and to be able to purchase buildings that we could turn into short term rentals so that we can have more residual income coming in.
Yes.
And also maybe a little bit of wholesaling
Uh-huh.
and just trying to build up some of the money that we can use to just turn around and invest in the business and other investments for rental opportunities. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. Well,
Thanks.
we always like to ask our guests for three takeaways. So, what are three things that you would advise an investor who or an entrepreneur who's looking to be brave and grow or is perhaps feeling stuck where they are?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I would say that walking out in faith and trust God to lead you. And one of the scriptures that came to mind when I was thinking about joining you today on this podcast was Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. People can look that up if they choose to. But also believe that you're created for a divine purpose
Mm-hmm.
and that to take time every day to be grateful for everything that God has done and is doing in your life. And that way, when you have gratitude, it helps us to train our mind to be more loving
Mm-hmm.
and just having that, being in that mindset of giving.
Yeah.
So in our real estate investing, it's not just about what we can get, but it's about what we can do for others in the community who need that housing or they need creative financing or whatever it is. It's about making it a win-win situation.
Yes. Awesome. I love it. This is great advice. Tell me about the role that gratitude has in your life and in real estate investing.
In real estate investing. Okay. Gratitude for me is every day when I wake up, I thank the Lord for everything He's done for me. Because some days I wake up and I just don't feel like doing what I need to do. I don't feel like
Yeah.
doing the hard things. I don't feel like paying the bills. I don't feel like picking up that phone and talking to that prospective client that I need to.
Yeah.
So it really helps me stay focused on what is important to me. What am I grateful for? What am I thankful for in my life? And again, what opportunities can I provide? What blessings can I provide for others?
Hmm. Oh, I love that. I think whenever we're seeking to serve other people, that's where success comes from. It's
Right.
not in how many deals we can take down, but it's how can
Right.
I serve others well?
Right.
And any success we have is just as a residual effect of just showing up and helping other people. So I
Yes.
thank you for sharing that. I love that. I know Tresa and I are so proud of you, Wendy. And I do want to tell you, when I was looking for guests for the podcast, one of the other coaches also said, have you called Wendy? You should reach out to Wendy because she's doing some pretty awesome things. So I just want you to know that you're on our minds and in our hearts. And we are so proud of you and the success that you're achieving. And I think there's so many women that are going to be inspired to go out and buy some bandit signs and stick them in the ground and just see what God can do when we take a little bit of action. So thank you so much for sharing with us today and for inspiring thousands of women that they can do it too.
Thank you, Andrea, for you and for everything that you do and the other coaches do, and Tresa. I'm really, really thankful for all the opportunities that you've all provided for me and for so many other women in this network.
Thanks, Wendy. Thank you for being here. On behalf of Tresa, Todd, and the entire Women's Real Estate Investors Network, we just want to encourage you to be brave and dream big.